Hi everybody, happy summer. I thought since it's such beautiful weather out, I would come outside to record this little PhD vlog catch-up. I haven't tried recording out in nature before, so I don't know how great the audio quality is going to be. I rarely record in public because it's embarrassing, so hopefully nobody comes by on the path. There's already somebody coming by on the path. But anyway, it's been a minute since I've done a little PhD vlog check-in with you, and I wanted to tell you about the ways that I am progressing my PhD writing this summer. So as a little update, I submitted my first chapter draft to my supervisor, and she got back to me with some comments. From what I can tell, they're all pretty minor comments, so I'm feeling pretty confident going into the writing of chapter 2, which I am in the middle of right now. When I first made the current outline for my dissertation, it had 4 chapters, where the middle 2 chapters were kind of on the same topic but had 2 different case studies. And then I since decided to collapse those into a single chapter, so I'd have a 3-chapter dissertation plus intro and conclusion. And now I'm trying to pare it back even further and considering only doing 2 really big chapters that are maybe subdivided further. But anyway, I'm planning on chapter 2, like with the thing that I'm working on now, whatever it's called, to be the last chapter. And then I'll work on the intro and conclusion. And one of the things that I did for myself to prepare to write this next chapter was sign up for a conference. I applied to present at the Canadian Association for Theatre Research conference in Montreal this year, at Congress in Canada, and I applied for a curated panel alongside 2 other people that I know who are writing on similar topics. And my main goal for this conference was to create a paper that was the outline for this next chapter. And I definitely think I succeeded at that. I got some great feedback after the event, and I really can use the second half of that conference presentation as the outline for what I'm writing now. So right now my workflow kind of looks like write a little chunk, realize I need to go back into the readings, read a little bit, write another little chunk. But having that conference paper already written where the ideas have started to develop and I've basically written down the entire chapter in brief has been really helpful in getting me started in this second chapter because it can be really hard to know where to start. So that's one thing I'm doing to progress my PhD lately. The second thing is my peer who I presented at the conference with, she asked me if I wanted to do a regular kind of check-in and become accountability partners. So that's what we're doing. So every time I work on my PhD in the morning, I'll message her and tell her what I'm doing with the day to keep me accountable to do that. And then also every Friday, we're sending each other a little chunk of writing. So last week, I sent maybe 3 paragraphs of something that I had worked on that week. I sent it in 2 little excerpts. I don't know exactly where in the chapter those little excerpts will go. And she sent me about 4 pages single-spaced from her introduction. And then we just gave a little bit of feedback to each other really quickly and briefly over the weekend. And we're going to do it again this week. And I really think that is going to help progress my dissertation. It's amazing how helpful it is to get feedback on something really tiny just as soon as you've written it. And I've always been afraid to get that kind of feedback from people because you need it quite regularly and that's quite a lot of work. But because the 2 of us are both in a similar phase of the writing, we're giving each other feedback, and so it doesn't feel like a time sink, I hope, for either of us. And yeah, doing a kind of agile development process on the PhD or in instructional design, it's called SAM, the Successive Approximation Model of Instructional Design, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're successively approximating what our dissertation might look like and rapidly getting feedback on those tiny pieces. And I think that's really going to help me progress my dissertation faster. And it's the kind of help that's hard to get from anybody but your peers who are also working on the thing. And then the final thing I'm doing lately, which I mentioned in a previous video and I've done on and off throughout my PhD, is just waking up and working on it first thing in the morning and making sure that I work on it for at least 2 hours and more if I feel capable of doing it that day. And that is how I am getting the writing in to send to my friend on Friday. So it's all compounding and I'm feeling good about my progress and where I'll be at the end of the summer. My current goal is to have everything written in draft form. And by draft form, I mean there are large segments missing. Like I have basically the chapter structure and most of it written, but then there'll be a section that I'm like, I don't know what to write here, or I don't have time to flesh this out right now, or I still need to read this and then I will flesh this out. That kind of stuff is all over it. So it's not like a full draft, but I'm hoping to have that kind of sketchy entire draft done by the end of August. I almost feel like saying that out loud here is going to jinx it, but I hope I can work hard this month to get the draft of my chapter done by the end of July, and maybe I can get the introduction done by the end of August. And I don't think my conclusion is going to be very extensive and probably will be the very last thing that I do. But don't hold me to any of that. All of that might change, as it has over and over again throughout my dissertation process. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. It's just a quick little update video for you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the summer. If you are in part of the world where the summer is happening right now, let me know how you're progressing in the comments below, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Bye, everybody.